Hello and welcome. Today is it 16 of Inktober Tangles challenge. I think it's day 16. Yes, it is. And I'm here with a new tangle of the day. It's Heidi K's tangle. Sorry. And I wasn't really sure what to do with it. But I think I will maybe use it as a border tangle here below my kind of fescue. And oops, let me let me move inside the screen. This fescue here is, I have to admit, it's a weird thing to add, but I'm switching to Micron 05, but I added it because of the way that I wrote the Inktober lettering, and it felt kind of unbalanced or imbalanced with the way that I wrote the letter I at the beginning, and I extended it towards the left. And then I finished the Inktober word a little bit too much towards the left side. And of course, these are Opus tiles. They are too precious to just grab a new one and start it all over again. So what I did was I added this fescue thing on the right side to balance what I have on the left side. And now we can maybe argue if this was a good move or not, but it is what it is. It's here, and I will find a way to work with it or around it or across it. Let's see what happens with it. I don't want to plan, and as I said, I'm not trying to judge it. Whatever happens here, I think it's kind of very much what happens in life with all the imperfections and whatever happens. Now I will try to make it a little bit more interesting by adding some highlights and shades to it. And this is what I think I will later do with all these letters. Try to add a little bit of a 3D look to them. So I'm adding highlights and shades just like I would to a tangle. So shades on the bottom, and you know, once you have this black aura, then you can feel free to just add graphite over it. There's maybe a little bit of too much of a graphite in this very thin part, but I will try to kind of fix it with a little bit of white. And I was hoping that this might make it look a little bit more 3D and a little bit more interesting. And then I have smudged my black line. I don't like these smudged lines, so I'm retracing my black ink, and you will probably see me doing it often. And now I'm also adding the white gel to the top part where I would place the shiniest highlights. And the white jelly roll has, you know, the way to use it is you have to really just lightly touch the surface and the ink should flow. And once you apply the ink, then you should wait for it to dry before you add another layer, which I didn't do. but ultimately I think it does a little bit look a little bit more 3D than it did before. So let's go back to Tangle Sorry by Heidi K. And I will draw it probably here below my fescue. Use it as a kind of a border tangle. And I don't know how that will look. It's not a tangle that will be probably my go-to tangle. It's not one of those. And you know, by the way, when I say that, it doesn't say a lot about the tangle itself. It's not that there's anything wrong with the tangle. It just speaks about my personal preferences. So disregard what I say, and if you like it, just enjoy it. And I'm sure I will enjoy it too. I've never tried it before, so I just saw the deconstruction. So the deconstruction says to draw this kind of an oval or maybe a rice shape thing, and there are different ways to use it and different ways to draw it. So, and then another one a little bit further away, and between them in the middle, more or less, I will draw a little orb, and I will draw a little orb on top of this too. I'm not sure that I want to extend it towards the top of the tile, so I will keep it like this now, and then I will come back to it. And then I will join, it looks like a little cap or hat or something like that. Is there a better name for this in English? I'm not sure, but this is it. This is basically, this is the tangle itself, you know, the little orb, the little rice shape, and those two lines that connect them. And then you can use them in different settings, like that they can create a mandala or whatever. But I thought, because I need something here and it can fit a relatively small space, I decided to use it here. And then I will add an aura line around this rice shape, and maybe I can do the same thing here. Just pretend that it's disappearing somewhere. You will not see it anymore on my tile. And I want to add something in these spaces around it, and I think I will go with simple lines that will kind of just give texture to the background, and automatically whatever I drew before will be kind of pushed to the front. Okay, that's my texture. And now I can start shading and highlighting. And it's not like I planned what to do here. What I want to do here is add some shade below my fescue. So I have this aura that divides fescue from the aura line. So I did this. I also want to add shade over my background, but I don't have to cover the whole background. I can only add it next to the lines, and then I will later blend it towards the midsection. And I also want to add some between my tangles and the new tangle, sorry. And again, I'm blending, so you know the drill, nothing new here. And perhaps you want to try to use it like to form a blossoming tangle. with these components of the tangle. And I decided not to do it because I think that we have many blossoming tangles that form some more or less similar types of shapes. And this is why I wanted to use it in a different way. Otherwise, I would maybe go for it. So I'm adding some shades inside the body of the tangle, and I will add it to, I'm not sure if I want to shade the whole, let's do it. So I'm not playing with the source of light here, I'm just adding shade inside the whole rice shape, blending it to shade the whole space again, and the shades will be a little bit darker in these areas where I actually applied the graphite, but that's fine. And now for the highlights, there's not much I can do. It's quite small, right? And especially not much that I can do with my charcoal white, because it's not totally sharp and it's not really precise. So I'm going in with my white jelly roll, and I want to highlight the central part of these ribbons, and I also want to add some to the ribbon on the left side and on the right side. And I think that's it for today. It was a short one and a new one for me. I might extend this ribbon towards the bottom now that there's time for it, and maybe add some texture to this part. And you know, just these straight lines are very simple, but it's kind of a contrast. There's a contrast between those lines and these very organic tangles on top. So this is why I'm using it. And let me just shade this, and then we will be done for the day. And we are already like half past the beginning of the challenge. So with day 16, there are less days to finish it than they are since we started. And it's always a bittersweet thing. It's kind of nice to finish things, but then also it's very nice and rewarding to do things like this. Everything needs to end, right? But there are many days before we end. So with this, 16 days behind us, 15 days in front of us, I look forward to spending those 15 days with you. Bye everyone, see you tomorrow.